Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapara Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatang Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Nama Shrestam Manamapi Sachiputra Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagraja Madhupurim Maturim Gaustavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Jasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Gurun Tanmatosmi Adadanastirantantaridam Jatye Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padamboja Dulisham Janma Janmani Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Himavadivyachta Visundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Today is the Tirobhav of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu, and also Gauridas Pandit. And this line of Krishna consciousness has become synonymous with the Rupanuga Sampradaya, the followers of Sri Rupa. So Guru Maharaj will say, someone asked, Sri Rupa, why not, Radha, Lalita? If we say, oh, Radharani first, so why not Lalita? Why Sri Rupa? It seems that on the one hand you're becoming somewhat removed. And we can say that in the prayers of Kavi Karnapur, he uses this line, Svarupanuga, to say, giving reference to the Chaitanya Lila, that Lalita Saki and Chaitanya Lila is Swarup Damodar. And so we're also the followers of Sri Rupa, those in the Rupanuga line, they're also Svarupanugas, followers of Rupa, and we will Swarup. And we'll see how they express this reverence and appreciation and submission to one another. Rupa's accepting Sanatan as superior, but Sanatan saying, I'm also a Rupanuga. Raghunath Das Goswami, we say, is the Prayojan Tattva Acharya. He says he is a follower of Sri Rupa. Kaviraj Goswami concludes every chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam with Sri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Jara Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das. And I remember in first reading that, I thought, oh, interesting, here he's saying Rupa Raghunath. Right? Interesting. And Saraswati Thakur, before leaving the world, is giving his final instructions to his followers, and to one he says that you are tasked with carrying on the line of Rupa and Raghunath and broadcasting their teachings. And so Kaviraj Goswami, he's always at the end of every chapter saying, Sri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Jara Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das. And really, we're told that Chaitanya Charitamritam is those first 14 slokas. They are the, Guru Maharaj will sometimes call it, the steel frame, the superstructure upon which, Hare Krishna Dandavat, Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam is constructed. And what do we hear with that, Sri Gauranamatam Rupa Viditam, or as Rupa Goswami would have it, Swarupam Bidbran Jagatatulyo, Swarupa Bidbran Jagatatulyo Advaita Dvaita, how he is identifying the position of Swarup Damodar as being unparalleled. And so the Chaitanya Charitamritam, Kaviraj Goswami is referencing the notebooks of Swarup Damodar, which we're told they're very sutra-like, succinct, and those of Raghunath Das Goswami said by comparison are like the cotton being fluffed out. But after an introductory sloka or two, the first verse that Kaviraj Goswami quotes is from Srila Rupa Goswami. Anarpita chirim chirat kornavatirna kalo samarpayatam udhojala swabhakti sriyam hari purata sundar jyoti kadamba sandipita sada hridaya kandare spuratu vasachinandana. So it's Rupa Goswami, he quotes to first establish that the unique gift of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which elsewhere he described, Namo Mahavaranaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tishe Namaha. That he's come to give Krishna Prem, but in a generic or general sense, or something very specific and so unique that it has never been given before. So it says, Unata Ujjvala Rasam. Unata Ujjvala Rasam. So he's giving this connection to the highest type of rasa, right, which we hear at the conclusion of the Madhya Lila, that is more or less impossible to achieve. Krishna Lilamrita Sar Tar Shata Shata Dar Das Tike Jaha Mahahoite Se Chaitanya Lila Hoy Sarovara Akshoy Manasa Hangsa Charaha Tahate. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami saying, what is Krishna Lila? Lilamrita Sar. It would be enough, you would think, to say Lilamrita. But he says Lilamrita Sar. It's the creme de la creme of nectarine substances. And being such, it's virtually inaccessible. You can't get access to that. Once Guru Maharaj put it in almost like a light way, but very succinctly, he said, you're being welcomed to the land of no admission. Like the place where you could never enter, welcome to the land of no admission. Somehow you're being given connection with that. That is Chaitanya Lila. Right? Extending what is beyond the extending what is beyond their qualifications, or for those who are totally unqualified, giving them access to that. So, Srila Rupa Goswami, when in that very verse, when later, when Mahaprabhu is not introducing, but say, certifying Srila Rupa Goswami as his successor, so to speak, as the full transfer of the wealth from the heart of Sri Chaitanya Dev to the heart, Sancharja, Shakti Sancharja, infused in the heart of Sri Rupa. And Srila Guru Maharaj will say that really the Guru empties their heart into the heart of the disciple, to momentarily give us the impression as though, they become wholly emptied. But he's saying, in other words, the transfer is to that level. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wants all the other great devotees to understand what is the position of Rupa Goswami, he's also referencing his works. If we recall previously, in the pastimes, Rupa and Sanatan, they were disguised. It's almost inconceivable to think they were disguised as ministers in the then-day government. Right? Yet they were. But even their superiors knew that they were special and had deep spiritual insight. So we told when the one governor heard about Mahaprabhu approaching and that 100,000 people were following him, and he says not being paid, they weren't on payroll, and he's asking his advisor, who happens to be Rupa Goswami, Dabir Khas at the time, he's saying, who do you think this is? You know, saying this is really peculiar. Some ecstatic Vaishnav who's got 100,000 followers, and he's moving in the land, singing, dancing, and tears are shooting out of his eyes like from a syringe, Ganga-like streams of current, transforming all of those upon whom they land. Who do you think this is? And Rupa Goswami says to him, very interestingly, he said, you wouldn't have your position if you were not yourself extremely qualified. And it's not an accident, the position that you're in. So, considering that you're a qualified person, and sincere and earnest, and a seeker of truth, I ask you ask your heart, go deep into your heart's core, Sada Hridaye Spurat Kandare Spuratu Va Sachinandana. Go deep into your heart's core and ask yourself who it is. Which he does, and he says, I think whom in our scriptures is described as the, let's say, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to keep this happy. He said, I think it's that person who's now descended and is not only walking among us, but chanting and dancing and singing among us. So his spiritual qualifications are such, they cannot really be concealed. And in one sense, we can think he and Sanatana Goswami Prabhu are, and with restless anticipation to join in the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. I mean, if we projected ourselves into a similar situation, if we knew that this was happening somewhere near us or in the proximity or a similar time, how could you not want to give up everything and go? What to speak of, it's Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. So that's exactly what they want to do. And we're told in the dead of night, they go to see Mahaprabhu and Ramkeli, and literally, taking a straw between their teeth, giving dandavats on the ground, and from a distance, and decrying their fallen position. And what are we told? It's breaking the heart of Mahaprabhu. He knows who they are, of course, but in Krishna Lila, you can say, those divine servitors, Sri Rupa Manjari, they've descended in Chaitanya Lila, and now from such a position of abject humility, they're making their approach to him. And we're told, it's just breaking the heart of Mahaprabhu, who runs and grabs them and is embracing them and saying, please don't push this type of humility in my presence. And you are my old servants, my eternal servants. You appear with me life after life in all my pastimes. And then you think, if you're following, you're saying, oh, so at last they're reunited and now everything's going to be fine and happy. And Mahaprabhu says, but not now. And he's saying, what? He's saying, now is not the time. Testing their humility. He's saying, what I need you to do now is go back to the situation that you're in and remain there for some time. And a little bit later, you will come to me. So there's a parallel, we think, when when you're reading in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and remember, if 18,000 verses, this is the 10th canto, you've gone 1 through 9, the prerequisites, everything. You go through the appearance of Krishna, his childhood pastimes. You finally make it to the Panchadhyay, these 5 chapters that are describing the Rasa Leela. It's supposed to be the crown jewel of all that. And what happens? They come, hearing the flute song of Krishna, in the dead of night, they go and meet Krishna. And what does Krishna do? Apparently, on some level, it appears he's rejecting them. He's saying, this is inappropriate, it's against Veda. Shruti bir vermigyam. Why are they so glorious? You're going against the Vedic principles, general accepted principles of society. Krishna mentioning all these things and saying, this is inappropriate, you should return. Some delay. But we're told, with their heads bowed down, tears in their eyes, the mascara and their lotus eyes and faces running, that they don't leave. That advice they don't follow. But in their hearts they're thinking, we hear that Krishna, we read Sri Rupa wrote that Sri Krishna Karshini Chasa, that Krishna is controlled by prem, by love and affection. And now it appears before us, we have no control over Krishna, and we're being rejected. So that means we have no love for Krishna. No prema gandhasti dharapi meharo. So on what basis did we cross over the statements of the Vedas, what's commonly accepted as moral, reject our husbands, children, family, everything, and come to him? Because now it's obvious in his presence that we don't really have love for Krishna. This is the revelation of the hearts of actual pure devotees. I like to call it the uncertainty principle. They have to live with this uncertainty. They will never think that they really have love for Krishna. And we think, oh no, that's for the beginners. Right. No, and the beginners think they have something. They think they got Krishna consciousness they can even tell you the date that they got Krishna consciousness. The beginners, the advanced devotees say they don't have. And it's a mysterious thing. One is, we can say by analysis, well, they know it can be withdrawn at any time. So they don't want to give any indication of the good fortune that they actually possess. There are different ways to look at this. But if we're told, Mahaprabhu, the Bhav Murti, his heart is a mirror reflection of the heart of Srimati Radharani. And it is no less than Mahaprabhu himself who says things like, Na prema gandhasti dharapi meharo. I don't have a scent of the fragrance of Krishna prem, what to speak of a drop of that divine substance. It would be misleading, and damaging to our spiritual development. And think, oh, they're just saying that for newcomers or for the lower section. No, this is the vented heart of the higher level. And what will Guru Maharaj say in interpretation? It means that's how high it is. How noble, how high, how wonderful, how extraordinary. When Srila Saraswati Thakur was giving second initiation to one of his disciples, and Guru Maharaj was there, and after the person left the room, with another devotee outside, they started having a discussion about a particular interpretation of a meaning of one of the Gayatris. And Guru Maharaj, Saraswati Thakur could hear what they're saying. They're talking about pushpabana, flower arrows to the holy body of Krishna. We can understand this is a different quality of disciple. And so they're eagerly discussing this. Like, what can this possibly mean? And Guru Maharaj said, Saraswati Thakur had this pained look on his face of abject, dejection, lamentation, pathos. And he said, I've been trying for so long to offer a flower to the holy body of Krishna, and as yet I am unsuccessful. He said, as if to say, lifetimes. So he's venting his lack of success in this endeavor. And we could say, well, that's really discouraging. You mean the top person, he's the guru of all of you. He's saying, as yet he is unsuccessful. And Guru Maharaj turns it in the other direction and says, no, Krishna conception is so high, so wonderful, so extraordinary. If after lifetimes and lifetimes of not achieving it, you can't give up the search. It's that compelling, his other words, heart-swallowing, capturing, that even in the presence of a lack of achievement, you can't leave it, you can't give it up. And this is consistent in the prayers of Madhavendra Puri, where he's saying that famous verse, what is it? Mugdam mam nipina vaidika. It ends in Govinda padaspriham. He's saying, let everyone else say that, I've joined the cult, or he's under the influence of evil people. It's all imaginary. It's mythology. It's against society. He goes through a whole list of all the possible things that people say to discourage others from the pursuit of Krishna consciousness. And at the end of the list, he says, add one more to that. And what is that? That I haven't got it. It'd be one thing to say all these other things, and you've got it. He's saying, no, add to the list, I haven't achieved this yet. And he said, but you can further add that I can't leave it. I can't leave the search, the attempt, like that. So, Rupa and Sanatan, Mahaprabhu sending them and telling them to wait. What is Guru Maharaj and the sloka given there, Paravyasini, it says, like a paramour, because they need some way to adjust this themselves. And said, like a paramour, and it's more than apt. And he says, when a woman, a wife, has a paramour, she's more attentive to her, what do you say, wifely?
Household duties.
Huh?
Household duties.
Household duties. There you go. That's a better word than wifely. I don't think wifely is a word. Yes, her household duties. And so he's saying, go back and don't, be like, what's wrong with so-and-so? He hasn't been the same since he came back from Ramkeli. No, being even more attentive, so not to arouse suspicion. Saying, while all the time being fully absorbed in the heart on the paramour. And so that's the position they adopt. But of course, in time, they come to the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu, and we're told on the where is it? The Dash Ashwamedha. What city is that in? Where is it? Varanasi. Yeah. And before the deity of Bindu Madhava, and Guru Maharaj's prayers of Rupa Goswami said, for Sri Rupa, as if he got his treasure back. There before Bindu Madhava, that's when the Rupa Shiksha takes place, where Mahaprabhu is instructing Rupa Goswami. And we're told by a particular type of analysis. As we know, Advaita Acharya son, Achyutananda, may not be happy to hear that Mahaprabhu has different gurus. But, Ishwara Puri, you can say, Nam Guru, Bharati, Keshava Bharati, the Sannyas Guru. And Guru Maharaj will say, and Ramananda, his Ragamarg Diksha Guru, right? The Ramananda Samvat. So that's where Mahaprabhu is enlightened on Raga Bhakti by Ramananda, who says to Mahaprabhu, you may say that or present it like that. He said, but as far as I'm concerned, I am like an instrument, and you're the player of that instrument, and you're praising the instrument. So when Mahaprabhu is instructing Rupa Goswami, he's saying, this is what I got from Ramananda. What is it? That word sancharja again. Sancharja, Ramabhida, Bhakta Meghe, Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Chayamritani. So the Bhakti Siddhanta ocean from the ocean of Bhakti Siddhanta, from that arose this cloud, Ramananda, and raining again upon that ocean. So Mahaprabhu saying, this I got from Ramananda, and it's unlimited, it's infinite, and it would be impossible to describe it all. So Ek Bindu, I will take one drop from the Bhakti Rasa Sindhu and explain that to you. And what later is the name of the book of Rupa Goswami, the book of devotion, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He's saying, and that's, I will instruct in this way. And it's there that, in essence, he says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kuna Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. In this world of misconception, the length and breadth, having traversed the length and breadth of the world of misconception, fortunate souls, the Bhagavan Jeev, what Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij. They get the seed, the Bhakti Lata Bij. Right? Krishna sends his guru, his agent, to that fortunate soul, and Stane Stita Shrutikadam Tanuvan Manobir, hearing from them, the seed of Krishna conception enters their heart. And then Srila Rupa Goswami will describe Adoshrad and his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the book on devotion. We saw Prabhupada's, remember he makes Nectar of Devotion, but the unpublished manuscript, I used to have that, the original title was The Science of Devotion. And later he changed, but that it said Science of Devotion. And there, step by step, everything is described. Ado Shraddha, Tada Sadhu Sangha, Tabhajana Kriya, Tato Narta, Nivriti Sha, Tato Nishta, Ruchi Tata, etc. Tata Shakti, Tato Bhava, Tata Prema, Vyundanchati. He's saying, this faith you get really in connection with the Vaishnava. Elsewhere, Guru Maharaj says, faith is the halo of Radharani. And in his Brahma Vimohan Leela descriptions, he's saying, it is through his Shakti that he is revealed. Right? He's saying, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya. And under the guidance of the Vaishnava, you begin your bhajan. Right? And interestingly, when Guru Maharaj is parsing the song, Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, because it mentions bhajan, pujan, he said, bhajan is more internal, pujan is more formal. Bhajana Kriya, and then Anartha Nivritti, Nishta, Ruchi, etc. And Guru Maharaj will remind us, where it says Anartha Nivritti, that all the anarthas vanish. And anartha means, improper behavior and addictions, but also artha means meaning. Anartha means misconception. Misconception is gradually being converted into pure conception. And when it goes on to nishta, deep-rooted faith, ruchi, taste, ashakti, etc., Guru Maharaj reminds us, back to what we said in the beginning, the genuine devotees will never think that they've achieved anartha nivritti. They will always find themselves in want. Right? But anyway, so, and then to, Ashak Bhav, the Bhav Ankur. We're told the how do you say, the seed of Krishna Prem, and not here the seed, but the sprout. Right? Just before Krishna Prem, the sprout, Bhav Ankur, means that. And Guru Maharaj says, at this point, what was a seed and turned into a creeper, then it's flowering. And the flower of that devotion, from the heart of that devotee, the devotional flower of their heart has a particular aroma that Krishna finds attractive. We can understand. If Rupa says, Sri Krishna Karshini Chasa, real devotion is capable of attracting Krishna, to me saying, this is that point. It's on the up to this point, a little on the other side, the developing practice. Here we're saying, it's caught, like when we see how that happens, you hear, what is that? That's really wonderful. At this point, Krishna has become specifically attracted to the aroma of the devotional fragrance in the heart of that devotee. And then, when that intensifies, to prem. And then after that, everything about Guru Maharaj, again, Rupa Goswami, gradations of Krishna Prem, Sneho, Man, Pranay, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, Mahabhav. And now we come back to the original thing. Why Sri Rupa? Why Rupa and not others? Guru Maharaj says, because of the highest possibility of gain. That's what he said. There's no place where you can get anything greater. The highest possibility of gain. And I remember once following Guru Maharaj's line of thought, and I was sitting before him and sort of thinking out loud, but together, and I was thinking, all these things we're hearing, and so many things are described. And I thought, what is so many discussions about Jiva, Tattva, and this, and all these different things. And I thought, how high, what is the highest attainment possible for a Jiva soul? And I said, third position. And before I finished those words, Guru Maharaj went, fifth. And I went, oh. Because there were two I wasn't counting, meaning Radha and Krishna, 1 and 2. Then Lalita Vishaka, Rupa, Rati, then the fifth position. So Guru Maharaj said, the highest possibility of gain. And generally, we don't discuss these things. They're too high. But Guru Maharaj said, a sketch can be there, like outline. Right? So without trying to go into the details. So when he's, and I think we'll come to that in a moment. But why, and he's saying, in this sense, Sri Rupa's position may be considered supreme. Right? So as a side note, like, how wonderful is Krishna consciousness? Who's really supreme in Krishna consciousness? Is it Krishna? Or is it Radharani? Or is it Radharani's assistants, or her friends, or her friends' assistants? It's a mutual appreciation organization. And that's in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That is the nature of pure devotees to always appreciate the devotion of others. And like I say, to the extreme, Krishna appreciating devotion the most. He's the object of all of this devotion. And that's so powerful that he's appreciating this and saying, am I the only one who doesn't get to experience this? So, Rupa Goswami, aparam kasyapi prani janamandasya kutuki rasotsamam hritva madhuram upabhoktam kamapiya. Always, and Kaviraj Goswami, that's what he uses. Whenever he wants to, he's saying radical, revolutionary concepts in Chaitanya Charitamritam and needs to tell you something that as soon as you hear this, you go, oh, all right, it's from Sri Rupa, then we can accept everything you're saying. So, Sri Rupa, Chaitanyastakam, and elsewhere. And just like Guru Maharaj in his Bhakti Vinod Viraha Dasakam, this ability to properly identify, weigh, assess, qualify the hierarchy of servitors. Because when I would meet with Guru Maharaj in the beginning, and he would see I was kind of randomly asserting different aspects of Krishna consciousness. And when I would mention something, what about this? And he goes, no, that is generic bhakti. And then he goes, haven't you gone through Brihad Bhagavatamritam? And that's when he, I think, I could say, empowered me to study it. And what is about? Gradation. Rupa Goswami, Upadeshamritam, gradation. Ramananda Sambad, gradation. Brihad Bhagavatamritam, gradation. So, the hierarchy of servitors and how Guru Maharaj can conclude that the highest possible gain comes from being in the Rupa Nuga line. So that Rupa is the most qualified, supremely qualified to glorify Srimati Radharani and Lalita Saki in the best way, the most accurate way. And we're told, so Radhastakam, Lalita Astakam. And the first verse will always be the first, it has some special significance. From that, everything else will open. Right? So it's not random, the collection. The first verse must always be extremely important, establishing, and revelatory. Right? And in the case of Srimati Radharani, it says, Hari Pada Naka Koti Prishta Parjanta Simha Tatamapi Kalyantim Pranera Brishta Doham Pramodita Madhurakshi Vrinda Vaidagdidika Gurumapi Guru Kirting Radikam Archayami. He's saying, what of all the things you could say about Srimati Radharani, what does Rupa Goswami tell you first? And you think, so many things can be the greatest of anything. But he's giving some insight to what her interior is. He says, Hari Pada Naka Koti Prishta Parjanta Simha. That Hari Pada means dedication to the lotus feet of Krishna. Hers is unparalleled. Anaya Radhita Nunam Bhagavan Hirishwara. No one serves Krishna more than she. Right? Krishna Moyi. Her within, without her, everything is Krishna. Wherever she casts her glance, produces Krishna. But when we think, always moving toward the least to reveal the maximum. Right? Through inversion, we can understand. So we say, the lotus feet of Krishna. Oh, that's that's how you make your approach. Oh, is that the lotus feet? And then higher. But if we say, but of the lotus feet, if you're focused on the lotus feet, which would be the least aspect of the lotus feet? That would be the nail. Hari Padanaka means the nails of the lotus feet of Krishna. So it's saying, she's identifying, what's the least aspect of Krishna, the lotus feet of Krishna? Hari Padanaka, Koti Prishta Parjanta Simha. It's saying, she considers that to be infinitely of more value and higher than our own highest aspect of self, magnified millions of times. Right? That, who sees like that? She sees like that. Rupa Goswami is telling us, this is how she sees. Always the least. Na prema gandasti darapi meharo. Not the ostentatious display of achievement, but totally in the opposite direction. Right? The least aspect of Krishna she considers to be greater than her own highest aspect of self, multiplied millions and millions of times. And basically he's saying, and if you find this sort of vision intoxicatingly wonderful, then you can be initiated into that line. When he's praising Lalita Saki, similarly, when Radha Mukunda Parasambhava Garma Bindu Nirmanchano Pukurini Kritadehu Laksham Utunga Sohrita Vishesham Prashat Pagalbam Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami. How beautiful also is the poetry of Rupa Goswami. And what is the position of Lalita Saki? Where is her? So we just heard Radharani's position. What is Lalita Saki's position? Focused on service. There's Radha and Krishna. She's focused on service. That the least aspect of service, not even the least remote disturbance can enter that plane to disturb their divine pastimes. And how much is she on guard and prepared to offer herself to that service? Deho Laksham. She'll take on hundreds, thousands, 100,000 forms to do, dedicated to the least aspect of seva. So again, Guru Maharaj is saying, so what do we see here? The greatest amount of eagerness for the least aspect of seva. Not very eager to do some, what did Gurudev used to call it? Luxury, he would use that term, luxury seva, in the modern world they call it the photo opportunity, to be seen doing some particular thing. Not at all. To be in the background, always in the background. Srila Gurudev moving in the background at Chaitanya Saraswati Maharaj. Guru Maharaj moving in the background of the pastimes of Saraswati Thakur. Rupa Goswami moving in the background of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? Not drawing no attention. Right? So, and not self-promoting, pratishta. When Rupa, Sanatan they stay with Haridas Thakur in Puri, right, at the Siddhabokul. Right? And they cannot enter the temple of Jagannath. Are they whining and self-pity that, don't they know who I am? And no. Rupa Goswami writing the inconceivably beautiful verses and just writing, putting on a palm leaf, putting in the thatched hut roof, going to bathe. Mahaprabhu comes to see, oh, Haridas, what's the news? Sees the room, what's that? Oh, Rupa wrote something, What? Hide that. Nobody should see that. Then later, asking Srila Damodar, saying, did you see this Rupa Goswami sloka? And Srila Damodar said, I don't know. What do I know? But Mahaprabhu knows, no, you know everything. You know more than me about certain things. When he's saying, those songs that I sing before Jagannath, that appear for most to be like mundane love songs. Guru Maharaj said something, I think, why is Mahaprabhu singing this? About a mundane love song of a boy and a girl on the banks of a... And then Rupa Goswami taking Yak Kumara Hara and changing to Priya Soyam Krishna and Radha, revealing that boy is Krishna, that girl is Radhika, on the banks of the Jamuna under the moonlit night, revealing everything. And Mahaprabhu says to Swarup Damodar, that's only in my heart. No one knows that. The person he's talking to, it's assumed, knows that. So basically, another way of saying this is like, only you and I know this. You know what's in my heart, and sometimes you know what's in my heart better than me. So I'm asking you, you're my secretary, and have these unparalleled qualifications. How does Rupa know this? And we can say, this is a Yoga Maya play, or it meant to shine a spotlight on the devotion of Sri Rupa. Yes, and what is Swarup Damodar answer? He's saying, it must have come from you. You infused this into the heart of Sri. Otherwise, it's not possible. This isn't something you can learn by study. You learned so many scriptures. You came to the conclusion of logic. This isn't. It's not approachable that way. Nayam atma pravachanena labdyo name, etc. Tanum atmanam tanum shvam. You revealed it to him. And not only that, I think you've given everything to them. You've infused everything that's in your heart, you've infused in the heart of Rupa Goswami. So because he's that qualified person. Right? So later, when Mahaprabhu, when all the devotees gather, we know that once a year at the time of Rath Yatra, Shivananda Sen brings the 200 Bhagavatas from Navadvip and surrounding, and they go to Puri, and there's also Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita, Charja, Ramananda, Swarup, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Everyone is there, Haridas Thakur. And it's significant at this particular time that Mahaprabhu wants to certify Sri Rupa and alludes to those books that you're writing. I saw, and there's one verse in there that upon hearing which everyone becomes happy. Will you please share that with all the devotees? And it's about the holy name of Krishna. Remember, Haridas Thakur is there, and we talk about those who know scriptures and have studied and have extensive. Think of this group. Right? What is the extent of their Shastric knowledge? They know everything about everything. And he's saying, so please, Rupa, share that verse. And Rupa Goswami is very shy and staying, and they have to kind of push forward. And then, Tunde tandavani ritim vitanute tundavali labdiye karna kroda kadambini katayate karnar budhevya spriyam. Saying, when the holy name of Krishna is so sweet that when you're relishing the sweetness of the holy name of Krishna, one tongue is insufficient. The heart, from deep heart's core, will aspire to have millions of tongues to relish that sweetness. And the sound is so beautiful that 2 ears, you'll be blaspheming the Creator for only giving you 2. You'll say, why can't I have millions, tens of millions of ears to capture all of that sound? And Haridas Thakur, all these devotees, and when they hear this, they're saying, we've heard and know so many slokas glorifying the holy name of Krishna, but we've never heard anything so sweet and wonderful as that. Then Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda to further anything. Rupa, in all books, in the beginning, it should begin with one's worshipable deity. Please tell us who is your worshipable deity in the beginning of Rupa. Like Gomer, he's blushing. Golden volcano. No. He's hesitating. And Mahaprabhu, don't be shy, you can't tell anything. Anarpita charim chirat, back to that verse, the beginning of Charitamritam. Va Sachinandana. Sachinandan Gaurahari, you're my... And Mahaprabhu, all right, whoa. Ati stuti kore, too much too much glorifications and other. There must be some other verses we can hear than that. And one that was favorite to Srila Gurudev was I was going to say the sound effects, but the effects of the sound of the flute of Krishna. Because we can only wonder when we hear how beautiful that is. It's inconceivable, beyond what our present hearing capacity. But how does Rupa Goswami choose to deal with us? By showing the effects of the sound of Krishna's flute. And we think, oh, it's so sweet and wonderful. It's, putting the hearts of the Braja Gopis in a whirl, and those things are undoubtedly true, but he deals with it in another way. Rundan ambru bitas chamatkati param kurvan muhus tumbarum dhyanadantarayan sanandanamukam brishmapayam vedasam otsukya balir bir balim chatulayam bogendra magunayam bendam andagatah bitam abito badbrahma bangshi dwani. Gurudeva goes, but Brahma Bangshi Dwani. That's the sound of the flute in the last part. He said, what does it do? The animate becomes like freeze frame. The inanimate melts. The cloud, like they're struck with lightning in a freeze frame. It's raining. The rain is all frozen at the sound of Krishna's flute. Kurvan muhus tumburum, tumburu. He's the ultimate musician in the universe, as Abhiram Prabhu comes. So, in other words, he's the greatest musician. That means he knows all the rags, everything, all the different types of music, styles, and he's one like, what is that? I've never heard that. Anything like that. Tumbu, Dhyanarantanayan Sanandana Bhukama. Those 4 Kumaras, which is, as a side point, these great sages, they're Kumars. That means they're little boys. Although they may be millions of yugas old, they appear like young boys, and their meditation is never broken upon Krishna. Right? It's all that. The tulsi mixed with the lotus feet of Krishna, they inhaled that, and they were transformed forever. Their meditation is never broken for a moment. What does it say here? The 4 Kumaras can't concentrate. He's showing by inverse. Like in the Sme Rambangi sloka, he's using the psychology of opposite. Like, if you want to stay attached to your life, don't go and see that Tribangala Lalitam form of Govinda Krishna on the banks of the Keshiga. Don't go to see that, with the moon shining down upon his beautiful lotus face. And don't go to see that if you want to remain attached to this world and everything in it. So he's saying, the 4 Kumaras, they cannot concentrate. Vishmapayam Vedasam. And Brahma, who's created everything, saying, I didn't create this. This is not on my list of things that I've created. I'm aware of everything generated from me. This does not come from me. Otsukir, and he's showing in this that the sound of Krishna's flute has penetrated the 8 layers of coverings of the universe. Right? Etc. There's 8 layers, saying it's penetrating them, and then it's circulating. So it's from the higher position, then it's going now to the lower position, Bali Maharaj. And what's at the very bottom of the universe, Bogendra Magunayam, means the hoods of Ananta, upon whom all of the planets are resting. And we're told, and what happens when Ananta, who you would think would know, hears the sweetness, the beauty of the sound of Krishna's flute, it's so intoxicating, his head starts to stagger, and it looks like they're going to fall off. Bogendramagurnayam bidbrad Brahma Bangshi Dwani. You're saying, and that's just the sound of Krishna's flute. And seeing Munendra Mohan Prabhu and Krishna Kanta Didi before me, can only remember Gurudev told on that Monte Baro place we were all staying, he's talking about Krishna's flute, and he's saying, how is it that the sound of Krishna's flute is regulating all the servitors and the various services? Right? And he said, like in the factory, when they blow the whistle, they go, doo! And then everyone, when they hear that sound, some go this way, we go upstairs, we go downstairs, we get in all the different things they need to do. They all know when to do that as soon as they hear that sound. He said, it's something like that. But infinitely more sweeter. But he's saying how this one sound can regulate all the different types of seva. So, with that, through these slokas, Mahaprabhu revealed what is the position of Srila Rupa Goswami and certified that the full wealth in the heart of Sri Chaitanya Dev was fully transferred to Srila Rupa Goswami and by Sri Rupa in this line. Oh, I need to come back to so why the highest possibility of gain? And we just say this in deference to Srila Guru Maharaj. No, well, I can say it and read it, but that saying, in that if we conceive at the central position of reality is Radha and Krishna, and then next to them is Lalita Vishaka, and then particularly Lalita Saki, hers, Rupa and Rati, means Sri Rupa, the leader of the so-called Manjaris, the junior section. So when I said to Guru Maharaj, third, and he said, no, fifth, you understand now, right? It's the fifth position. But why the highest possibility of gain? Again, Srila Guru Maharaj is saying. So when Radha and Krishna, they're having their intimate pastimes, saying the Sakis, who are older girls, they're equal in age to Srimati Radharani, they hesitate to go at that time, to not create any disturbance, or we can say a sense of competition. Said, but the younger section, they can go at that time, and there's no competitive nature, and they can render service at that time. So he's saying, in that sense, the position of Sri Rupa is sometimes considered supreme. And as he said elsewhere, when Srimati Radharani is reciprocating out of gratitude to her servitors, we went back to Sneha, Man, Pranay, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, Mahabhav. We're generally told that Bhav there, that's the highest level of attainment. Right? This Mahabhav is very specifically reserved. So Srila Guru Maharaj said, Srimati Radharani, in gratitude to her servitors, headed by Sri Rupa, brings a plate of Mahabhav and says, here, taste what we're tasting. That's what she offers in gratitude. That which is beyond the constitutional capacity of jiva souls to experience ordinarily, she's giving them a taste of that substance. And that's what descends in the line of Sri Rupa. And Guru Maharaj is saying, it's like Raso Varjam, Raso Pyasya, Param Drishtva Nivartate. He said, and once you have a taste of that divine substance, he said, what to speak of all other tastes, all other rasas become tasteless. So, when Srila Saraswati Thakur calls Srila Guru Maharaj on his disappearance bed to sing the song Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. And we say there is this mystic transmission of the Rupa Nuga line to Srila Guru Maharaj. And Srila Saraswati Thakur is saying he's not interested to hear a sweet tune or for the song to be sung in a very sweet way, but he's recognizing that this current, that same current, Swarup Damodar is telling Mahaprabhu, that current that is, it must come from you, this current that we find in Rupa. And in the Rupa Nuga line, this current that is descending, Srila Saraswati Thakur is saying, I find that this current is in him. And that's why I'm asking him to sing this. You may say from an external point of view, there are better singers. Right? He's saying that's not what this is about. It is about that current. And so we cite this example, and rightfully so, but then we could say, what is the evidence of the current that is within Guru Maharaj beyond, or that heart? How is that heart expressed? And I think the heart is best expressed when Srila Guru Maharaj is explaining the song. So I'll read a little bit from that. And then we will see, this is the evidence of the current of the Rupa Nuga line being in the heart of Srila Guru Maharaj. So he says, Narottam Thakur, he says, Mahaprabhu recommended this is the highest form of attainment possible ever for the fate of the jiva, Rupanuga, Madhura Rasa, then in the camp of Radharani, again under the leadership of Sri Rupa. So Rupanuga Bhajana Darpan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given description, a short idea, sketch of that type of confidential spiritual service in Madhura Rasa under the leadership of Sri Rupa. And here, Narottam Thakur, because he's the author of this song, understands the substantial characteristic of Rupanuga Bhajan, so much so that he's expressing his aspiration. When will my Gurudev, Lokanath Goswami, take me by the hand and connect to Rupa? So in this pastime, we can say, Guru Maharaj is saying, Saraswati Thakur took Guru Maharaj by the hand and put him in the care of Sri Rupa Manjari. So, I'm giving this new kinkari, means a maidservant, to Rupa, you take it. Lokanath, his guru Lokanath, and his aspiration, when will my guru, he's my Gurudev, when will he connect me, give me to the charge of Sri Rupa? So Sri Rupa's transaction is higher. All right, then, Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, the characteristic of the aspiration should be this. Say more Sampada. My wealth is that I consider the holy feet of Sri Rupa as my only wealth. I don't consider anything else as wealth. Bhajana Pujan. Bhajan means internal presentation, sincere presentation towards the high. And Pujan means formal attempt. Both formal, Bhajan Pujan, how do they say? Both of them are toward the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami. Say more Pranadan. It is the source of my life's sustenance. Say more Abharan. Also my ornaments. That is my outer qualifications. My inner and outer existence is there. One should be like that. And also I consider that to be the very life of my life. Jivan er Jivan. The essence and the essence of my existence. Say Mora Rasanidhi, the source of all of my ecstatic aspiration. Rasanidhi, the ocean of ecstatic joy. Say Mora Banchasiddhi, the fulfillment of all my inner aspirations is there. say more Vedara Dharam. I consider that Veda has got so much position and hold over the society, but I consider that Veda inspires me only to accept that the lotus feet of Sri Rupa as the meaning of the Veda. So Narottam Thakur is taking, and here he's saying, whatever you can conceive. Here he's saying, your bhajan, your pujan, the statements of the Vedas. We say, no, there's so many scriptures, they say so many things. He's saying, no, it only goes in one direction for me, the service of the lotus feet of Sri Rupa. My vrata, tapa, mantra, japa, all of those things achieved in the lotus feet of Sri Rupa. So, and it's interesting, in Guru Maharaj at one point he quotes the Upanishad saying, Yasmin vigyate sarvam eva vigyatam bhavati. You see how this statement says, inquire about that one thing upon knowing which everything is got. So you can take that in a general sense, and then you can get more specific. So in the middle of talking about Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, Guru Maharaj is quoting this again, giving it a more refined and precise meaning. This is that one thing upon coming in connection with, you get everything. And then he says, I will say Rupa Madhuri Rasi Pranakuvalaya Shashi Profulito. Then I will be allowed to have a vision of his beautiful figure, movement, and serving attitude. That will come to me. I will be connected rather with his feet, his direction, and do some servants under her guidance. I will be allowed to have a vision of her beautiful figure, and that will be like the moon. Just as the moon is the source of energy and beauty of the kamud, the red lotus that floats at night. Generally, the help of the lotus, the moon helps these red lotus flowers that we find flourish in the moonlight. And this lotus gets energy, and there's another lotus that gets energy from sunlight. So he's saying one lotus gets energy from moonlight and one from sunlight. He's saying, but here the rays from the moon of Sri Rupa, he'll get morning and evening. It's not just at one time, not only at night or daytime, but both day and night. So this time the moon is taken, perhaps the principal necessity for night, meaning Madhura Rasa. The moon takes the night sustaining agency, and also mention kumud, but kuvalaya means a type of lotus that will encourage to be sustained both day and night by the ray of that beautiful figure, color, movement of Rupa Goswami. That will inspire me day and night in the service camp of Krishna. Then comes another stage, Tua Adarshana Ahi. As if, after attaining this, as if it is my own property, I've attained this, I shudder to lose this again. And you see in this description, he's talking about not only the beauty of Sri Rupa, but the in terms of figure, color, movement, elegance, grace. He's saying, but now having come in connection with that, to become separated from that, he said, then the apprehension comes. Tu adarshana ahi garala jarala dehi. If I'm dispossessed of this association, I won't be able to tolerate life any longer. After attaining this, he thinks, this is my home. And how can I be forced to remain out of my home? He's shuddering. If I again become separated, I couldn't be able to tolerate this. Your separation, the separation from Sri Rupa, has bitten me like a serpent. And now my life of peace is feeling the pain of serpent's poison. The whole world is feeling uneasiness of snakebite poison. And for a long time, I am undergoing this sort of pang of separation for you. It says, my lady, Lord, lady, master, mistress. Now I again come to your feet. Please grant me a permanent service in your camp. Koro doya dehumore padachaya. I take refuge in you. Under you, I have no other alternative. I fully surrender to you. Please give me permanent service in your camp, without which it is not possible to go on with my life. Hare Krishna. Anyway, that gives us a hint of why Saraswati Thakur said, no, I want to, who can give this description? And I've mangled it along the way because it really requires some careful hearing. But it gives us a hint, like this is, when Guru Maharaj sings this song, that's what I'm trying to say. When Guru Maharaj sings this song, these are the kind of things that are coming out of his heart. And that's what Srila Saraswati Thakur certified in him. And so as we heard, he became identified by his godbrothers as Rupa Nugadara, that current of Sri Rupa, certified by Srila Saraswati Thakur, was flowing in him. And just to conclude, sometimes when we would bring this up to Srila Guru Maharaj, he would be reluctant to hear these things or try to shift them. And we would say, at that time, your godbrother said, you were given entrance into the camp of Sri Rupa. And Guru Maharaj said, they are saying like that. And he said, I rather think posted as the gatekeeper. And we're like, oh. And he said, deciding who will enter and who will not enter. And I'm not allowing anyone and everyone. But if I told that, Srila Gurudev would say, we, our conception as Guru Maharaj, enter, given entrance. Like in the Narottam, when taking me by the hand and offering me in the service. But Guru Maharaj is saying that gatekeeper, guardian of devotion, bhakti rakak, is also tenable. So on this day, particularly, we're recalling Srila Gurudev's service to all these things described there in that song. That's Srila Gurudev's focus upon Srila Guru Maharaj. See the transfer, because this is what's described there. I mean, think that is so high, so wonderful. What shall our position be? Srila Gurudev demonstrated by all of that his focus is on the service of the lotus feet of his Guru. So his mantra, his japa, his tapa, his vrata, everything is the service of Srila Guru Maharaj. So that when I asked him, and on account of that, the full transfer of the wealth of the heart of Srila Guru Maharaj to Srila Gurudev. So when I asked him, this line of Rupa Goswami and Chaitanyastakam, I cannot grasp the current of what is there. And then Gurudev answered very beautifully. And I was so appreciative and got excited. And I said, Maharaj, when did you study Chaitanyastakam? He said, oh, I haven't. And I said, no, but you just gave this beautiful explanation to the interpretation. And he said, like, he goes, I am Guru Maharaj's servitor. And for those who don't know or came at another time, what he means is like, he did every service for Guru Maharaj, not just luxury, every service, particularly when he was younger. And he transferred mercifully some of those services to others in the course of time. He entrusted certain things, but he cleaned the room, took the clothes, washed the clothes, did everything. Right? So he's saying, while he's doing that, Guru Maharaj goes to bathe, and he's with the lota and bathing. And what in the Chaitanyastakam of Rupa Goswami, Sado pasya sriman drita manujakai pranayitam bahadbi givane giririsha pramishti prabhritibhi sabhaktebhya sudham nijabhajanam mudram upadisham sat chaitanya kame punarapidashor yashati padam. And he's cleaning the room, picking up the clothes, and Guru Maharaj is chanting the Chaitanyastakam. And we can say that offering himself unconditionally in the service, that's his mantra, japa, vrata, tapa, his everything, that the full wealth in the heart of Srila Guru Maharaj is transferred to him. And so that's how we have a legitimate connection with these things, is by unconditionally offering ourselves in service to the holy lotus feet of our Gurudev, Sri Guru. Srila Rupa Goswami Tirubhav Mahamahotaviti Ki. Can you sing Ye Anilo Premadana? Jayanilo Premadana Koruna Prachur. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Jai Saparikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundar Ji ki jai. Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gauravartavan ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gauranga Shyamkunda Radha Sundar Ji Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadip Dham ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati ki jai. Shri Gupta Govardhan ki jai. Ganga Devi Juna Devi Roshi Devi Tosi Devi ki jai. Om Vishnu Bhad Vishwakaranya Suri Subhadridanta Shami Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Gandhi ki jai. Jai Prabhupada Vinod Maharaj ki jai. Nasi Gandhi ki jai. Shri Gopal Devi Dasi ki jai. Shri Manendra Mohan Guru ki jai. Shri Krishna Kanti Devi ki jai. Shri Nanda Prabhu ki jai. Shri Govinda ki jai. Shri Vasudanda ki jai. Shri Rupa Goswami Piro Bhav Mahamahota ki jai. Nithai Gaukamanande.
Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
In Ukraine, Dandavat. Sandeep Maheshri Janvi, Dandavat. Lakshmi Priya in Ukraine, Dandavat. Dhananjaya Prabhu, Dandavat. Vrinda Devi Dasni in Nizhny Novgorod, Dandavat. Sri Bhakti Asrai Dande Maharaj, Dandavat. Here's Rupanuga Das. There we go. Hare Krishna, Dandavat. Achyutananda Prabhu and Yaroslava Dandavat, Priyanana Didi and Lakta Dandavat. Oh, it's not working? Okay. Pavan Krishna Prabhu and Krungtap Mahanakan Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Leela Madhurya and Latya Dandavat. Narayani Didi Dandavat. Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu Dandavat. Ajita Krishna Prabhu and Kiselni Dandavat. This is Sakshi.
Sakshi.
Sakshi what?
We don't know.
Oh, okay. Like Sakshi Gopal, Sakshi something. Hare Krishna, Dandavat. Indumukhi and Mitra Vinda. Jai Mitra Vinda. Pavel Brun and Montenegro, Dandavat. Leela Sundar Prabhu in Ukraine, Dandavat. Suresh Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. Jivanadiri, Dandavat. Anjali in Ukraine, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Dharani Sundari Didi, Dandavat. Kalindi Priya in Ukraine, Dandavat. Ratin Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. Chaitanya Nitai Prabhu in Vrindavan, Dandavat. Tarun Prabhu in Moscow, Dandavat. Nadia Sundari says Lviv, Dandavat. Jamuna's mother Elena in Moscow, Dandavat. Here, Balavanta
And Makanchar.
and Makanjor. All right. Dandavat, Hare Krishna. And Anjali and Kiselni, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. That's everyone, I think. Vanchakalpa tribhyascha kripa sindhu cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Show them more. Close up. Group shot and then close up.
Recording